Hi guys, welcome back to another PIVO session reflection, I guess we could call it, with Captain. So I'm just watching this back. I've given it a quick edit because you guys don't need to see half an hour. I think last time's was half an hour, and some people were actually watching the whole half an hour, but I was like, that's a bit boring. We don't need to watch the whole half an hour. So I managed to half it. So here I'm just working on some walk pirouettes. Now I was doing that again today. This was yesterday's ride. And I was finding it really tricky to maintain the bend through the ribcage in the walk pirouettes and keep him connected to the outside rein. So that was kind of something I'm definitely working on, especially on the left rein. And also he was kind of getting a little strong in the walk, so I just like to remind him to carry himself even in that frame and sort of step up a little bit behind, which kind of leads into some of our more collected work as well in the trot. But it's good to school on the walk for him because he doesn't have naturally the best walk. He has a big walk, but he tends to get a little bit lateral at times. So making him aware of his hind legs is super important for everything he does, because he's a good moving horse and he has lots of good things about him, but he does need some gentle reminders just to keep picking up and using himself and not depending on me too much. Since last week, I've also been working heaps on the connection and trying to keep him in between both reins and both legs, which is not easy. He tends to get a little bit wriggly, and you can see there I'm just trying to connect him back up to the right. So you still see me making a lot of collected steps. I'm not doing that actually for for no reason. I am doing that to make him connected because he always wants to be too long and strong and a little bit low and not working those hind legs. So that's kind of become my half-halt, and now that I've kind of created access to that, I have to kind of go back there to get my point across, and then I want him to go forward and maintain the same posture and balance out of those steps, and that same activity that I generate through those steps. I want that kind of, not that kind of effort, but that same push feeling as I come out, and without sacrificing the contact. So it's really hard. It's hard for both of us. We're still learning and figuring out this together. But as I come out here, I would like to see that it just sort of easily comes into the connection, which you can see there's insecurity there. That was a bit better today though. This was, as I said, this was yesterday. So I kind of gave him the tune yesterday. I had some different things to work on. He was a bit tired today. So I had to sort of work on different things, which I think were quite good for him. But he's definitely starting to get a lot more comfortable here. There is more secure parts. I got a little bit too deep and round at that moment there. But that's what I'm looking for. So I want to be able to use that to get his back and get him pushing up into the bridle, so then I can just sit quietly and build trot, and that's where I can sit on him, really sit on him in that lengthen trot. Whereas if I don't get his back properly in the lengthen, he doesn't tend to take the bit properly and he gets quite hard to sit on. And I'm very fussy with the back. I want it to feel a certain way. I'm very particular, so I want to do all the work back here to get the back how I like it, and then I can build the trot with that back. Now, last week, and with the first bits of PIVO, I noticed my dodgy left hand. So that's what happens with COVID and no one keeping an eye on things. So you can see there I need to keep, and I think it is getting better from watching all these PIVO sessions. I think I'm starting to realise how it should feel. I had a really good session on the pony today where I could really feel it. I don't know if it's because he's a little bit smaller on compact. When it was getting too back, I was like, oh, that's going to go forward. I do not want to see that on PIVO later. So yeah, a little bit showing up here, and I think the more I have to watch this back, I'm like hating it. So that's a good way to make sure I fix it. So there, I would like to be a little bit more proactive with that left hand. It just sort of sat there, frozen and quite ineffective through those steps. When he was looking for that security from me, I feel like I let him down a little bit there. But watching this, tomorrow when I go ride in these steps, I want to be a little bit more proactive and kicking him off that left hind. Maybe I need my whip in my left hand. Yeah, so I can touch him with, you can see the left hind lagging a little bit there, and we just kind of lost it all there. But if I could speed up that left hind a little bit, yeah, which I'm probably there using the right whip a little bit at times on the right hind, which is going to remind that to come through quick and strong. And the left hand, yeah, I almost need to just make some little changes of flexion just to reconnect him when he's putting in that much effort and he's just doing what he can to balance and think about his posture. But it's only early days, so I appreciate the effort. I just want to use it to create a little bit more straightness, which I want to run right through to the bridle. Good. And big hugs for Cappy. Now, I think, yeah, time for some counter work. Came a little off the bit there. Those ones, you know, we've had that issue running through since early this year when Ben was riding him with the late change, and I talk about this a lot with him when I make those upward transitions to canter. I have been working on them, but it's really hard because he likes to throw his whole neck and shoulder into the transition instead of really sitting and coming from behind. I had a couple of really good ones today actually, but that's something that I definitely have to be aware of. Although in this session today, I know because I've already had a bit of a sneak peek, I know that there's actually no late changes today, which is fantastic because that's something that we've been struggling with one of the changes for quite a while, and was something that was hanging over my head thinking about me doing some straight dressage with him. I didn't want to go out there with the risk of that happening. So these rides where it's getting consistently like we're not getting any at all, and I think I even do a couple of fours today, clean and clean, so that's really cool. It's super exciting, and it's such a hard problem to fix. It's really rewarding. And I think if I had to sum it up on how I actually fixed it, I would say that it was all just feel. It was all straightness, getting both hind legs stronger, making sure that he learns to activate his hind legs while staying through to the bridle in straightness. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I know it sounds like a lot of crap a little bit, but yeah, putting all those things together I think is where that clean change was hiding the whole time. So yeah, and just here a little bit, I feel like I need again just to be a little more effective with the left rein. So coming through here, hopefully there isn't any late ones now. I got excited about that. There was at least nothing drastic. Good. And that was the bad one. So you can see there's still stuff to work on, but you know, thinking how it was 6 months ago, I think even 3 months ago, you know, it's been something that's been really, yeah. And even in the change, you can see he just is so over the top with his bloody front end. It's like neck, shoulder, everywhere. So activate that hind leg instead. You can see that, yeah. That was just a bit of a weird one. I was kind of not quite straight enough. With all the poles and stuff I had to dodge, and it was just not very organised there. So we'll kind of ride that one off a little bit. So yeah, he's awkward in it, but he's definitely getting better. So that's very rewarding. I feel like I really conquered the impossible on that one, because for a while there we were getting a bit worried. Just playing around a little bit there. Okay. Ride this line again by the looks of it. Good. That was a little less dramatic. A bit more in balance. So watching today's workout, I think compared to last week, you can see it was a little less carry on in that upward transition, so a bit stiller and a bit rounder. But today's overall, I feel like he's a bit straighter. I feel like he's a bit more through, and I feel like that was even better today. So that's pretty exciting. The one thing that I did notice today though, he was a little bit heavier, but I guess that security I think I was actually just negotiating with Captain there. I should put subtitles. I think I was like, okay, a few more big trots and then we're done. I'm sure he's glad to hear that. He's getting sweaty neck happening. So yeah, I think today, early in the ride, I had more security in the contact, which you can see now compared to the start. It's much more consistent through all the correcting, and especially the straightening is really starting to take the bit. And then today he was really there from kind of the beginning, but he was kind of a bit strong. So we did a lot of half-halts at the start of today. I didn't do PIVO. I'm going to limit myself to 1 or maybe 2 PIVOs a week. Now, I think that reason is because, I want to give myself a week to work out all the problems from the last week and not expect dramatic changes in a day, although today I think was different to yesterday. But anyway, I'll look at it again next week, I think. And I also have to try and plan it when I'm not riding at the same time as Ben, because the PIVO gets a bit confused with both of us. I need to find out if there's a way that I can manage that a little better, because we have a couple of working pupils starting next week and lots of lessons and stuff, so there's usually going to be 2 people or more on the arena at a time. So it'd be good to have a way that it could maybe track me. I'll look into that, find out if there's something that can help it sort of focus on one person. So here I'm really happy because obviously the horse knows how to lengthen. That's been something he's been doing in his 3-star tests for a while. But I felt like I don't want to lengthen sitting on something that doesn't give me the back and doesn't take the bit. And I felt like he had been lacking that. But today I really had a big breakthrough from all the straightening. I wanted to get in there and unlock that back. And then it just feels easy. It's effortless then to sit in the lengthening. So whereas, if I go to ask him to lengthen and it feels hard to sit on, I'm going to go back and look at the straightness. I'm going to look at the connection to the bridle and look at the things that aren't working properly, because there's definitely, if he's hard to sit on, there's something going wrong. So that's a really good measure of me to say, is he through? That's where I find my throughness. And you can see that he just comes a little high in the head carriage at times, and that's okay. I think he's just finding it. It's not massive resistance, but that was the other thing I found, that if I didn't just lean on him, he had no self-carriage in the lengthening. And of course, lengthening does have a more weighted feel in the hand than, say, a really collected pace, but it shouldn't feel like he was pulling so much, and then if I corrected, he was sort of oversensitive and then dropping the bit and dropping the back, and then I couldn't sit. I had nothing to sit on at all. So yeah, I basically want to feel like I just do all the work so that it can just sort of explode into it. And that bloody left hand, stay out there. Ugh. Know what I'm going to be chanting as I go around. I can even see the fingers are a little bit soft through the left, so I'm probably letting it slip. Then my left elbow comes back. Good. And here I was just riding a little lengthen on the circle because I was finding a little bit of resistance in that lengthening, which I was talking about before. So by making it on a circle, it just lets me do tiny, teeny turns, which I can use to correct. And because I don't want him to kind of just collapse into a heap as we come to walk here, I'm going to come through that collected type trot after the lengthening. So try and contain the energy of the lengthening in the collected trot to create a bit of impulsion before I come down. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting or helpful or something. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next week maybe for another PIVO session.